Yo, episode 9 of the Put On podcast. We've done 9 of these so far. This is fucking crazy. What's good, D? How are you?
What's up, man? I'm good. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah,
You're in Canada now, right?
I am back in Canada. I'm back home. I got back a couple of days ago. Yeah, man, it's been we haven't recorded in like a month. Um, I I lost the mic. Mic was returned. A bunch of fuckeries happened over the last month. But yeah, man, I mean before I get into it, anything like any fun Fourth of July stuff you get into, any fun summer things that's been going on in your world or no?
Um, Nothing really. I've definitely gone to some. I definitely did some Fourth of July stuff. I've been
Mhm.
to a couple parties. Been kind of just like doing a lot of work and stuff like that. Nothing
Yeah.
really as exciting as what you've been doing over the last month. And so I kind of want to know a little bit about your travels. I was joking around calling you Callum San Diego because it was just like every single, every day you're like got a video and you're like on a beach in Greece or you're like in, London or France or Spain.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it was a good trip. Yeah, I went with a couple buddies. We had kind of been talking about this for a while, and we were always gonna do, I obviously used to live in London, so I've been to Europe several times. The two guys I went with had never been. And we were talking about doing one, and then COVID hit, and then obviously, no one was traveling. And this summer it was one of those things where, you know, they were like, let's do it, and I'm like, shit, like I work full time. I enjoy my job. Like, I don't know if I can get a month off, blah, blah, blah. And so I worked the first 2 weeks while we were there, and I was still around. And then it kind of timed up with the 4th of July week. So that was kind of a write off. And then I kind of just took 1 week off, honestly, for a 4 week trip, which, so I would say I got a good balance. We were in London, then went to Paris, then went to Amsterdam, then Barcelona, then did Italy a little bit, Rome, Florence, Sorrento, which, man, if you're going to go on a romantic trip, you want to take your
That's the
wife
spot.
somewhere, down Amalfi Coast, rent a Vespa, get her on the back, drive the coast, nice dinners, beach it up all day, good food. Yeah, man, it was. I met up with my girlfriend in Amalfi, so I was traveling with these two guys, and you know, it was solid. We had a good flow going, but as I'm sure you spend so much time with people, you're kind of at their necks, and
Yeah, I'm
so it was good. It was such a good balance of things just to be able to dip out on them, go meet her in this spot. Felt very we haven't been together a long time. Felt very honeymoon like.
sure.
I got that vibe, and then yeah, ended off in Greece in Mykonos, which is the world's most expensive island, bro. It's crazy. Like you're getting a bottle of water is 10 euros. Like,
Damn.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But
What was
so
the best spot that you went to,
the best spot. That's a good question.
if you had to say?
If I had to say, the most beautiful place was probably Sorrento,
Hmm.
on the coast there, just in terms of the vibe and the food and the company, probably. But it was the most beautiful spot. But overall, Barcelona, man. I
Hmm.
love Barcelona. It's a great city, good culture, good food, lots to do. The beaches are crazy. Have you been to Barcelona?
I've never been there and I've always wanted to go. I'm wondering if part of the reason your answer is Barcelona is also because it's probably like the best spot to go out and party, or no?
No, we had a couple good. Honestly, I've never stayed in a hostel before, and we stayed. That's like the only time we ever stayed in a hostel. We were at this party hostel in Barcelona, and shout out to the Australian girls in our room. But yeah, it was just like the whole hostel was Australian, and you do the pub crawls at the bottom, and yeah, party in Barcelona was fun. But I would say in terms of the partying, Mykonos was crazy partying, and probably Amsterdam as well.
That's
But Barcelona,
surprising to me. It's surprising me that you've never stayed in a hostel before, considering how much you like travel. I would have thought that you've stayed in a hostel before.
I'm a
But
5 star, bro.
I start with the hell you're
Yo,
bougie.
yo, legit. If you when I moved to Canada, someone was like, hey, like we should go, camping this weekend. And I was just, and then I went home and I like asked my parents, I'm like camping, like we're going to go stay in like, like a 4 or 5 star hotel. Like, is that what they mean? And so, yeah, man, I was like, I said back to the person, I'm like, you're going to miss me on camping. The closest thing I've done to camping is a 3 star hotel. So I'm not, I'm not about that. And so I've evolved since then. I do enjoy camping, but yeah, man, I'm not a hostile guy in general. It's nice
Okay,
to meet people, but
last question. What was the most overrated spot that you went to?
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Did not. Yeah, I don't like Amsterdam. Obviously, you got like the red light district and the canals and the food's decent. I would just say in terms of like the vibe and the overall culture of Amsterdam and compared to the other spots we were in, like Paris exceeded my expectations. I've been there before, but Paris is beautiful and good food and yeah, I just Amsterdam, seen it. I wouldn't go back. Not a lot going on unless you're super into like again the red light district stuff.
Right, and
Um, the,
the
the
drug
drugs,
stuff, right?
yeah, 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 like the coffee houses,
Right.
which are the weed spots, and yeah, overall Amsterdam most overrated. Again, Barcelona to me is probably rated because it's rated high, and I love Barcelona. And then like Sorrento, super underrated, and Mykonos was fun, but yeah, man, that was the trip. It's good
That's
to be
awesome.
back though. It was a long time. I'm kind of ready to get back into the thick of things with this and with work and just with getting like when you do something like that, you try to get into, as we talk about all the time, like you try to get into a routine. Where I'm like, yeah, I'm at home and I'm working out every day and I'm doing this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I got all these things going on. And when you're gone for that long and constantly moving, like we were moving every 4 days, there's no routine and my rhythm, like circadian rhythm just feels off. So, I'm really trying to push the next couple of weeks to just like get back in everything because I'm still, feeling the travel hangover a little bit. But
Word.
yeah, man. No, that's the trip in a nutshell. I could go on and talk about it for a long time, but yo, just to shift gears, I know you keep hitting me about this alien thing, man. So tell me what's good in the alien hood.
It first off, I don't love that I've become like the resident alien guy. That's not what I,
That's not what you wanted. That's not what
set
you
out to
aspire to
do.
be.
Um but that being said, like I've turned into an alien guy because I don't know. I'm like fascinated by it, right? And
Yeah,
so I just have like these like two theories, right? Or like
yeah,
these two kind of like thoughts about aliens that I just want to share with you real quick, okay?
yeah,
So a few weeks ago there's some incident that happens in Vegas, right? Where a family calls 911 and
yeah.
says,
I heard about
you know
this.
what I'm
Yep,
talking about, right?
I do.
They call up and they say there's aliens in our backyard. And then the police show up and they're like, well, we actually had an officer nearby that caught something on their body cam falling from the sky. Um, and it's just like a crazy thing that kind of people are like, is it true? Is it not true? There's like video footage of it. There's no footage of the aliens, but there's this like footage of like them going to the backyard and then seeing something. And then all these people have made like these videos trying to be like, is that the alien? Is that the alien?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I'm on this group text with like a couple of my friends, and like so the days after we were just like talking about it,
yeah.
going back and forth, right? And one of them is skeptical and it's just like I don't buy it, right? Like
Okay.
and this whole argument is one that like I've heard before where it's like, okay, if they actually exist, how come we've never seen a pic of an alien? Like how come there's not one
Yeah.
picture of an alien, right?
Hmm.
Not even one. You would think that with all these sightings, at least
They
one person would have that picture of an
have got
alien,
something.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I think that's a fair point, but I started thinking about it and I have a theory that kind of debunks that argument.
This is your create. This is your own theory.
It's my own theory.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't take this from anybody. Okay. So here's my theory. If there are aliens, right, and they've somehow managed to get to us and we haven't gotten to them, okay,
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that they're probably way more technologically advanced than us, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, they're obviously not just gonna let a random dude, right? Just some like random dude
Just
named
Jeff
Chad,
snap a photo of him.
right? Just run up on him like the paparazzi, and just like snap him up with an iPhone.
So, but then okay, but then what do you think? How does that even work though?
Well, I think first off, I think they're probably like, okay, wow, you've got an iPhone, like that's cute. Like we only had that technology like 10 billion years ago, like
Okay.
they're reading our minds. They know we're
Yeah.
going to,
Take a
think to reach
photo.
for our iPhone and take the pic before we even do, right? That's
Well,
how advanced they are.
so, but then my only question to you would be like, and I saw this crazy video of this. It was like some model on a flight, and she was videoing out the window, and like it's fully a UFO that like just goes shooting by. But then why are they allowing videos and photos of like the transportation, in this case the UFOs, if they're so technologically advanced? Like, what's the rationale for them doing that?
I think the rationale is there's some distinction between their like transportation and then actually like them, and I think that maybe, just maybe, the reason that we don't have any pics of them is because they literally just won't let us take a
Take
pic of
photos.
them.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think that
I
they,
can't debunk that theory.
right, like they go instant like invisibility cloak, right, like
Yeah,
faster
that's how
than
I
the
was thinking
speed
about
of
it. Yeah, an
light, like
invisibility cloak.
their technology is beyond what we could even comprehend. So us being like, oh, well, why can't I take my, this, why can't I snap a picture of them? That part, I'm just saying, like, that's the reason why I feel like we can't. Okay. So that's number one. Number
Okay.
two,
Yeah,
right?
interesting.
My second theory is this. I truly believe that if aliens do exist, right, especially the ones that have the ability to get to us,
Yeah.
I don't think they're hostile. And I don't
No,
think they
I
want to
would
kill
agree.
us or harm us in any way unless there's like a really valid reason,
They
which there
don't
might be.
don't you think they probably just wanna learn about us?
No,
Oh, you
well,
don't? Shit.
I do think they want to learn about us, I'm sure, or in some sort of way. But where I'm going with this theory is that, so if they are advanced enough to get to us technologically, then I would assume that they're also advanced in every other way, including emotionally, right? So they're not
Sure,
just coming here to kill us for sport, right? Like we're the
sure.
brutes, not
Yeah.
them. Now here's the other thing though. With all of these sightings that have like been documented, where do a lot of them occur? That's a question for you.
By, like, naval bases and port like, stuff like that.
Yeah, near naval bases and near nuclear energy locations, right? So my feeling is that can't be a coincidence, and that they're monitoring us, and essentially they feel obligated to protect us from ourselves. So I don't think it's that they
Mm.
care about us, but I think it's more so that they feel that if we blow up our planet, it has implications for the rest of the universe and could affect them.
That's a crazy theory. That's fucked, yeah.
To
Again,
me, that would make sense, right? Like that's the reason why they're always there, because yeah, they're doing recon. They want to know, but they're not worried that we're going to like, go after them. They're
true,
worried
true, that makes
about,
sense.
us like blowing up our own planet.
Okay, yeah, look, I gotta wrap my head around that a little bit, but, again, I think that's valid. I'm trying to yeah,
I just want to be on record as I'm the one that had those theories. And
when it
so
comes true.
when it comes true, I have the receipts on the put on
Okay,
podcast.
cool, episode 9, remember that.
Right.
Are you done with the alien
I'm
stuff?
done with my alien theories. Yes.
Oh, just okay. So you're done with the alien stuff, but yo, because we talked about a little bit off camera, but
Yeah.
what do you think of Midnight Gospel TV show I
Okay.
put you on to last episode?
Yeah, I think you know how I feel about Midnight Gospel. So I texted maybe like a couple weeks ago just to be like, Cal, this is the best thing that you've put me onto yet, right? And by the
Yeah,
way, you've put me onto a couple of things recently that I'm into. I mentioned Mac DeMarco is another one that I've been
yeah,
listening to, kind of
yeah.
digging that whole vibe. But with Midnight Gospel, well, first off, they canceled it, which is really disappointing. They
It is
canceled it, so
disappointing.
there's no second season, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm like 5 to 6 episodes through the first season, and
yeah.
like I kind of feel like you undersold it a bit. Like,
I, I mean, yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Like so I can't go out of the blocks and just be like, this is fucking amazing, because like I've put other people onto it and they're like, man, this sucks. It's you gotta really like grasp what's going on. And most people, honestly, man, I think this is interesting concept, but like most people, after a long day work or after, coming back from an event on the weekend, whatever, when they watch TV, they just want to kind of turn off. Like they want something
Okay.
numb for their, whereas this like is the opposite of that. You know what I mean?
Totally. And if you say somebody said to you that it sucks, like I don't want to know that person. I don't want to hang out with that person because to me, it's fucking brilliant. It's genius. And so like
It's amazing. Yeah.
it's incredible.
So
And
good.
I would say what I would say is this. First disclaimer is you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not getting like stoned to the bone before watching this show
Watching
because
Midnight Gospel.
it is trippy. The colors, the
It is
premise, the
trippy.
whole thing is just so like creatively inspiring, right?
Yeah.
I think the other thing I was going to say is like you kind of didn't really tell me what the plot was so much. I mean, you did like very
I,
high level.
yeah, I told you what it like was exploring. Yeah.
Right. I think you talked about it in a way that like whatever. I was like, okay, I'll check it out. But like the fact that it's this guy who like lives in a trailer, like in some like made up planet, and then he's basically going into his trailer each episode, picking out a different planet to travel to, and then going through this like simulator, and then going into, and then like, or yeah, he picks a planet, then he picks an avatar, then a point of contact at
Yeah.
each planet, then he gets fucking blasted off into the planet, right? And then it's just like from that point forward, it's just so crazy because then he meets somebody and then it's a guest that they have on the show. So that first episode, which I loved with Dr. Drew,
Yeah.
right? Where like basically Dr. Drew is like the president of this planet and they're being chased by zombies, but then they're having this whole like really like thoughtful conversation around like drugs and like
Yeah.
meditation. It's brilliant.
So my question to you though, you said you've watched like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
What specifically in because it's very different from any other show that I've watched. What do you like? What drew you? Like, what made you want to watch the second episode? I guess like
I,
why did you enjoy it so much?
I
What was that
think
like one factor?
I think because there were so many layers to it, right? There was like such levels to the show. It's like, yeah, there's the plot of what's happening in the animation, but then also the animation is like mind bending, right? Like it's
Yeah,
just like so bizarre.
yeah,
And then there's also this conversation that's happening that's like a real world conversation about like real world things, but then it's also like partly having to do with the plot. So you can't tell if it's like part of the show or if it's an outside podcast. It just really kind of makes you think in so many different ways. And I think I think I understand why it was canceled because it's like it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think it pushes so many boundaries in terms of like the type of show that you're capable of doing, the type of animation, like that to me it was so exciting. And then the last part of it is just like I just have to give Duncan Trussell his flowers because I listened to him actually
on
like
the
the last couple of days I've been listening to him on a pod with Joe Rogan. He's like a recurring guest
yeah,
and I honestly don't think there's anybody on his level in regards to the range of topics that this guy can speak
cover,
to
yeah,
intelligently and also comedically. Like he is a
yeah.
comedic genius. The guy is so fucking funny and so smart, you know?
Yeah. No, again, like the way that the podcast is kind of layered because he has his own podcast, obviously, and it's layered on top of the show. Yeah, man. I honestly, Duncan Trussell, again, I'd seen his name come up a bunch of times on Rogan, but I had no clue. I didn't even think it was the same Duncan Trussell that was on Midnight, like doing the Midnight Gospel thing until again, Garrett was like, yo, no, that's the guy on Rogan. I'm like, oh shit, okay. I should probably check this out then. So yeah, no, he deserves all his flowers. He's the man.
You gotta listen to his podcast with the
I
latest
do.
one, Rogan. He's
The
been
latest,
on it a
yeah,
couple of times, like in the
yes,
last few weeks.
yeah, he's a
Um,
regular guest.
let's move on though. You want to jump
Cool.
into the put-ons?
Let's do it.
Let's start with what we always start with, which is a nice little half-baked idea. Give it to
Yeah,
me. What you got?
I got you. So my idea comes from the fact that everywhere I was in Europe is hot as shit.
Mhm.
Like, and so you're and you're driving places, you're walking places, you're doing all these things, and it's not like you can constantly go back to where you're staying and like have a shower, freshen up. So you just feel like shit all day, every day because you're sweaty, you're groggy. Like it's just like you're having to like reapply deodorant, like all these things. Like it just sucks. And so, and there's probably things like this, but like no one's made it sleek enough. And I was like, man, like, I need to be cool while I'm out on these streets. Like, I need to be staying drippy. I need to be staying cool. Um, why not like a tee with like, some sort of built-in fan situation? So whether it's like, I think like it makes most sense on like both the like either shoulder blade where it's like it's got to be sleek enough, like it's got to be very, because I'm all about the quality of shirt and the design and the style, but like, man, I need a breeze in the shirt. I don't want to be sweating
Right.
24/7. So I think like in super hot climates like Dubai, like Phoenix in the summer, like a bunch of these spots, man, just being able to go outside and not get like sweaty as fuck. Obviously, the humidity is an issue in most places where like humid heat versus dry heat. But yeah, man, I mean, my idea is super half baked, but it's just some sort of fan shirt that, yeah, fan shirt that keeps you cool while you're outside bearing the heat.
Well, what about
Um,
like a dry fit? What about like dry fit? Because I wear like these like dry fit polos
yeah,
all the time because I just it's they're the best. You could just
but
kind of
you're
like
still
sweat
sweaty,
them.
no? Like,
No, they kind of like
but
they
you're still
kind of
hot. You're hot.
you're a little bit hot. You're a little bit hot. It's interesting you say that. I mean, because when I think about t-shirts now, like because I bought a bunch for the summer, and my favorite t-shirts to wear are surprisingly like just like regular plain like Gap t-shirts.
Yeah, you look like a Gap guy.
I'm a Gap like I never used to be. I used to get like I just wear plain t-shirts. Like I'm not trying to
Yeah, the
like,
essentials. No,
yeah,
who are you
but
trying
like
to
I used to get
impress?
them
Yeah,
from like J. Crew or like whatever, and then all of a sudden they get like they got kind of tight, like where like the armpit is, and like I need to be able to just like and they need to be long enough,
the
and they need to be
flexibility.
breathable, and I
Yep.
need to have full like mobility.
It's crazy. It's crazy how like it's tough to find a good shirt, honestly.
Yeah,
Is what you talk about with like the flexibility and just like, yeah, and one that's breathable. No, 100%. Yeah. Again, if the design needs to be bang on, but I think there's something there.
word.
But yeah, yo, that's my super half baked idea. What's yours?
First off, let me just really quickly again do my blinds. My shit is like I don't
Tweaking.
know, it's blinding me. Every time I do this, I'm just hoping it's not going to rattle. But okay, here's my half baked idea. Let me get re-situated here. Okay, so my half baked idea is this: I was watching I was watching some basketball highlight reel the other
Yeah.
day, right? Like of like a junior in high school,
Yeah.
and it was around the same time as when I had my quarterly review at work.
Mm,
Okay, and so I don't know if other people are like this, but like when it comes time to kind of think back to all the stuff I've done at work, I usually just like draw a blank. Like I'm pretty much the worst self promoter there is of the work
yeah.
that I do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I know I work really hard. I know I've done a lot of stuff, but it's just hard for me to remember.
Sure.
So I had an idea of what if there was some sort of service that could put together a highlight reel of yourself but for work purposes.
And is this like a video highlight reel? I'm
Okay.
assuming? Like,
So it would be something that, yeah, it is a video highlight reel, and it's something that would show like pictures and videos of you working and little collages of the different projects you've completed, maybe some like stats, right? Like, 99% attendance rate and like
okay.
450 emails sent and like
Like
60 follow-up emails sent.
17 handshakes per day. Like,
Exactly. Maybe a show a video of me leading one of like the brainstorms that I do, or like some clips of like the videos that I've helped create, or
sure.
logos I've developed. 49
Man,
Google Docs that I've been working in, right?
man, we get it. You do a lot. Holy fuck.
And of course, it would have some really like good like soundtrack to it, some really good music. So
Yeah.
so I'm thinking like, okay, this service would have some sort of AI component to it where you'd basically have you'd be able to input a bunch of docs, right? Videos, pics, whatever, but also maybe it would sync to your email so it could comb through all the projects and different stuff you've done and
Okay.
basically pull whatever it thinks would be the most impactful.
Yep.
to put to like a highlight reel. I also think the AI part of it is because I'm thinking about it from a privacy thing. Like I'm
Sure,
not going to
sure.
give somebody access to my emails, but I like trust some like nameless, faceless
AI
AI.
to actually, yeah. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Yeah. And so anyways, it would just be something that like when it comes time for your annual review, you have a really sick highlight reel queued up and ready to send to your boss or your manager so that you have some leverage and some tangible like thing to point at to show what you've accomplished to that point.
I
You want
like
to hear
that.
my name for it?
I like that. What's your
You
name?
want It's actually not that great of a name, but I was thinking like job light reel or like a 9 to 5
Job
light
lights.
reel.
9 to 5 light reel. Yeah, you seemed too excited about that name for what it is, but
I
no,
know
it's
it's
not a
not that
bad
great.
name. Uh, I like that concept. I think again, like I love like just like 17 handshakes per day. The fucking you could even, man, you could even again some this would be funny, but some people would probably be getting in trouble in terms of the amount of hours they'd put in, others wouldn't. But like your screen time, like how many hours a week you spend in the emails, how many hours a week you spend on text messages, et cetera, et cetera. I think there's much there for stats, and yeah, man. I mean, especially with like the field of work that we're specifically in, like just the amount of different shit that's going. Like, it's not like you're a dentist and you've filled 30 cavities today. Like, you're just doing a bunch of different stuff. So, yeah, I get it that you wouldn't be able to remember everything. And so, yeah, leveraging that job lights video for your next contract negotiation is legit. I respect that.
Yeah,
So I'm
and
a fan. I'm a fan of the idea.
I also
One of your better ones, I'd say.
I also just think like like, okay, I lead this brainstorm and there's like 30 people in the room. Like, I could put that, I could say to my boss, that's something I do. But if I showed that and like you see me and I'm commanding the room, like
Very
that's a little
true.
bit more
It's
impactful,
different.
right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so just the ability to be able to aggregate all of these different projects and have visuals and right, like it's so much more impactful. That's why they have these highlight videos for these kids now and they're sending them as like a way to get recruited because you can
Yeah,
send your stats, but it's just, again, it's more impactful to actually get the visual for it.
100%. It tells the full story, right? Like your
Yes.
stats only tell half the story. Yeah. No, I agree. Um, I like it, man. Should we move on to the next segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So I want you to hit me. I'm excited for this one. I want you to hit me with a book that you've read recently.
Got it. Okay. So let me tell you how I came about this book. Okay.
Please
So
do.
I watched a 60 minutes segment or a 60 minutes piece on Rick Rubin, right?
Uh,
I know
Honestly,
Rick. Yeah.
can you just? I actually don't know. Maybe I should know Rick. Who's Rick Rubin?
Okay. You should know Rick Rubin. So Rick Rubin created Def Jam. Rick Rubin was the one that discovered Run DMC, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys, LL
Okay.
Cool J, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He then went on to produce albums for Red Hot Chili Peppers, Tom Petty,
Maybe I do know Rick Rubin.
Johnny
Yes. Okay.
Cash. He's
Sure.
the big guy with the big beard, right? And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he has this very famous studio called Shangri-La,
Okay.
and he's one of the most legendary producers like of all time, right?
Okay.
But on top of that, he's just there's nobody like him. He's just like he's almost like he's got this like Zen Buddhist like quality to it. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
he's like divine, like he's like
Yeah. Yeah.
godlike in a way.
Okay.
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 So I've known about him forever, but the 60 minutes piece kind of piqued my interest because it basically showed him in the studio. I remember like one of the clips was with Anderson Cooper, and like
Yep.
the teaser for it was he was like, "Do you play instruments?" And he's
Yep.
like, "Barely." He's like, "Do you know how to work a soundboard?" And he's like, "No." Like, I have no technical ability and I know nothing about music. And he's like, "Well, like you must know something." And he's like, "Well, I know what I like and what I don't like, right?" And
Okay.
he's like, "So well, what are you being paid for?" And he's basically like, the confidence that I have in my taste and my ability to express what I feel has proven helpful for artists, right? And that's kind of like
Yeah.
downplaying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it just like it showed his entire process where he's just in the studio and basically like again, like the biggest artists in the world, they're coming by and they're playing like the music for him. And
Yeah.
like the way that he experiences it is like he just lays down and he takes his shoes off and he closes his eyes and he's just like listening to the music.
That's
And
amazing. Yeah, I can
it's,
just picture that.
yeah, it's great. But he really has this way of like getting to the heart of every song, connecting with his artist on like this like really deep emotional level.
Okay.
So I'm just like, okay, this is great. Then a buddy of mine from work, Ezra, right, is like, yo, you
Yep.
got to read the Rick Rubin book. It's called The Creative Act. So I started to really like be like, all right, maybe I do have to like read this book, right? So I pick up the book. It's called The Creative Act: A Way of Being.
Yep.
Um,
Okay.
and I think another reason why I wanted to get it was just because like I'm going through a lot of things creatively right now, right? This podcast being one of them. I'm producing a couple different shows for my company, like for my job, and so I thought it could be helpful to read the book and that there'd be a lot of kind of like insights and so what I
Takeaways.
would say is a couple of things. First off is like I don't think I've ever read a book where the author's voice like comes through so clear. Like where I'm literally as
Really,
I'm reading it,
that's a bold statement.
yeah, it's like you could hear him saying the words. Right?
Okay.
So that's one. The other thing that was kind of interesting just on the surface is just every the way the book is kind of like composed is that it's like in these like 2 to 3 page increments, right? And then it has like blank pages in between. So I got the book, it's this huge book, and then I'm like, oh man, this is a big book, you know? Like I wanted the physical copy of it.
Yeah.
But then like you read it really quickly because like there's pages that are being taken up and then it's like there's a blank page and then you go from like page 7 to like page 10 you know what I mean or like
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. But anyways, what I would say about is it explores like the creative process obviously kind of from soup to nuts. um Ask
Would
what
you
you got.
So you're saying that the book explores the creative process, and obviously having read that, you are a creative director, you probably knowing your own creative process. What did you like? What was the takeaway for you from the book? Having like obviously the way that he would describe his creative process, I'm assuming would be different than yours. Like how did you kind of figure that piece?
It's one of those things where like I go through it and then he is able to articulate feelings that I have that validate those feelings.
That's
Whereas, like,
interesting.
I'm in my head and thinking, like, shit, like, I'm stuck, or like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to come up with an idea. And I remember, and this is like a big kind of theme in the book of just like, you can't force ideas. Like, you just have to kind
Sure.
of like be like, if you're an artist, you're an artist. And you just have to let the ideas like come to you. You have to like have like an open mind to
So,
be receptive and be in the right environment to just naturally let the idea just like come to you, you know?
that's interesting because like yeah, I don't know anyone who has more ideas than you, honestly. Just
Yeah.
I mean, we work together and you're hitting me with 10 ideas before 9:30 in the morning. But like so you're saying but what you're saying there is that if you want to actually ideate, do not think about ideating. Don't think like, oh, let me come up with like so many times people are like, oh, I'll come up with some ideas, or oh, let me come up with that. But then you're saying like it's just got to come to you naturally. You got to be in the right mindset, in the right environment to actually be able to cultivate those ideas.
Definitely the best ideas. I think like look, the practice of like you have to come up with ideas, like that part you have to do
So
regardless.
okay, but so now I'm curious because we do fucking ideas every episode,
Yeah.
half baked ideas. How do you? Because I know how I come up with mine. Like, how do you come up with your half baked ideas?
You know what? It really is a lot like what he's talking about because we'll get to a podcast and I'll just be like, shit, I don't have any ideas ready. Like, I don't know what to do, like, whatever. And then I'll be like in the shower or I'll be going for a drive and I won't be thinking actively about the idea. And then all of a sudden, like magic, an idea will just pop in my head, which is really like that part of it is like magic,
Yeah.
like how ideas formulate, how it's just something that comes to you in some weird, just like, I don't even know, serendipitous way.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, whoa, like, that's actually a funny idea. Like, you didn't think
Yeah.
of it. It feels like you didn't think of it. It feels like somehow it just got there. But let me take a step back. What I would say is this, like, when I was talking about the creative process, he's talking about like, okay, from like the discovery phase of like drawing inspiration to experimentation to then crafting, right? And so forth. And it's like, there really are all of these stages, and the toughest one in my mind is the crafting part, right? That part really resonated with me because it's the hardest, right? It's like the least glamorous part, and it's something that I think, I can relate to, especially with the podcast, because like we know how much work goes on behind the scenes. And I think a lot of people from the
Yeah.
outside are just like, oh, what do you have to do? You just press record. But it's not that simple, right? It's like we're trying to come up with
And
ideas. We're trying to organize like how we talk about them. We're doing the post production. We're doing the timestamps, the copy, like all sorts of fucking things that go into putting out this like podcast that basically nobody listens to, right? But like, I think that's one part of it. And then the second part of it is just like, it kind of speaks to that whole thing of like that nobody listens to, because his whole kind of ethos on things is just like, you don't make the art for people, like you make it for
no,
yourself, you know what I mean?
if you yeah, if you enjoy it and you're like, yeah, I've seen so much on social lately around the fact that like truly put out content that's authentic to you. And again, as long as you don't give a fuck about the views or what other people think, that's when long term you'll win.
Totally. Can I tell you a quote, that a couple quotes? Let me just give you
How many? Just
just
two?
okay. Let me give you one that kind of goes with what we were just talking about. So here's one that I wrote down. One
Okay.
of the greatest rewards of making art is our ability to share it. Even if there's no audience to receive it, we build the muscle of making something and putting it out into the world. Finishing our work is a good habit to develop. It boosts confidence. Despite our insecurities, the more times we bring ourselves to release our work, the less weight insecurity has.
That's super. Yeah, I'm trying to take that in, but
Doesn't that kind of feel like it applies to us in a way, just like, as it relates to like developing the habit of like doing the work and just like that, yeah, maybe there's not an audience to receive it, but like that's not what it's about, right? It's about like kind of mastering the craft in a way.
100%, 100. I mean, yeah, we're constantly learning and evolving in this process. And I mean, yo, I hope from episode one to what we're about to be on 10 next up, like just that the process that we've gone through and the ability to obviously be adaptable, because obviously how we started in terms of the format and the segments is not the same as what we're at right now. And, 20 episodes down the road, it'll probably be a change. And so, yeah, man, I think again, it's the creative process. Creativity is such a beautiful thing, and what I fucking hate, and it happens. I see it happen too often, man. Is you know bosses, teachers, parents trying to you know nip creativity in the butt
Mm.
and not allow individuals to truly flourish in their potential and in their creativity because it's different and it's not what they're teaching or it's not what they want for their kids or for the individuals in that environment. And I fucking hate that. And I hope that we can all learn that creativity is one of the most beautiful things in the world and is
You
what
would
we
love
need
this
to.
book because like he talks so much about that, about like that, just like there's all of these outside factors that are trying to influence you, right?
Yeah,
Like the people that are the most successful as artists are the ones that go against the grain and that are
for
like
sure.
singular and like have their own true, like authentic voice. And yeah, listen, as somebody that I consider myself a creative, right? And like my entire life has been people trying to stifle that creativity. Like people being like, oh, it's not a job, or like, yeah,
Stifles the
do
word
that
I
as a
was looking for.
hobby,
Yep.
or like, it's not going to work. And you just have to fucking put on the blinders and just like, just listen to yourself, listen to kind of the universe. There's also this whole part of like, just, sometimes you're doing things and you don't even know why you're doing them, but like, just you have to listen to that. You have to
Yeah.
listen to that kind of like cosmic thing that's telling you to kind of like follow, your instinct. I'll give you
Okay.
one more quote, okay?
Sure.
Um, The artist is always on call. Even after we get up from hours engaged in our craft, the clock is still running. This is because the artist's job is of two kinds: the work of doing, the work of being. Creativity is something you are, not only something you do. It's a way of moving through the world every minute, every day. At any moment, you're prepared to stop what you're doing to make a note or a drawing or capture a fleeting thought.
That's deep.
I
That's
would just
deep.
say like every single I had like 12 quotes here and I knew I wasn't going to like read all of them, but like every single one of them, it was just like, oh shit, like I got to write this down.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I got to take a picture of it. And
I
so this,
definitely got to read this.
bro, it's so good. The entire book is just filled with these like pearls of wisdom. And
I'm gonna get
he's a
it after
special
this.
guy, man. He's a real gem of like a human being, a very, very unique guy that
Yeah,
when he's gone one day, everybody's going to look back and be like, holy shit, this guy was like really a true legend in every kind of sense of the word.
yeah. No, man. I'll definitely. Yeah, I appreciate that call out on. I'm gonna read this. I'm excited.
Yeah, read it. All right, let's move on. Oh, wait.
Um,
Do you have a book?
Easy, trying to move on. Yeah. I do. I'm not gonna go in as in depth with mine
Okay.
as yours. I'm excited about yours, but yeah, the book that I read, um, most recently is "Burn the Boats" by Matt Higgins. Matt's obviously good friends with, my boss AJ, Gary, the whole Vayner crew. So shouts to Matt for leaving books in the office and sending books. But yeah, man, Burn the Boats is a pretty quick read, and I thought it was good, and I think like my biggest takeaway, and I've heard this notion before, but like it's essentially an autobiography of Matt's life, and he's obviously been on Shark Tank, and he grew up in New York and was kind of super lower class, and then was working at McDonald's minimum wage, didn't know what he wanted to do, kind of dropped out of college, et cetera, et cetera, like just a bunch of you know, quote unquote, he calls them poor decisions, but it shapes who you are as an individual. And so the kind of overarching point in the book is um, do not have a plan B. Learning, and so it's teaching you like learning how a plan B sabotages your true calling. And so I think that just that alone is like
I
if
fuck with that so hard, man. I
I'm gonna
really,
be like, yeah, I think we're all lying to ourselves. Like, maybe not all of us, but like, even for me, man, I truly believe in that in the sense that if you're so like, if there's only one thing you want and you know what that is, and you have a plan B, you're not all in.
right, exactly.
You're not gonna make it happen because you have this safety net behind. So, you know, the lesson is that like if I really want something and drop all I'm doing for it, that crisis then forces me to act.
Hmm.
So now I'm gonna fully go for this thing, and I either fail or make it happen. If I fail, I learn. But again, like just the concept of having a plan B means that you failed already
Right.
is kind of what he's trying to say.
Because it's like the backup plan means that you're not all in
All in.
100% committed to this thing. You're like kind of like dipping your toe in the water. Like you want to know the interesting thing about it is, and by the way, I have the book too because I
Yeah,
took
yeah,
one of those books and it's
of
kind of
course.
like on my to read list.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, is I've kind of gone through life that way too. I mean, like, and so I personally know that like a lot of any instance where like I haven't been like all in on the thing, it hasn't really worked out. And like when I'm saying I've gone through life that way, like I'm always doing like I think it's tough as like being like entrepreneurial minded, right?
for
Because
sure.
you're trying to do a lot of different things at the same time, right? And
Yeah,
it's really hard to um kind of split up and diversify your attention and like your energy.
100%.
That's the part of it that I think is the most challenging. But I 100% subscribe to like not having that backup plan so that you could focus on the real thing that you have your heart set on.
And the quote that I like from the book, before we move on, is, he says, when faced with the possibility of losing everything you've worked for, you have to gather all your strength and fight. So again, it's just tapping into, like, when you put all your cards on the table and that's all you've got, you learn to swim or you drown.
Right.
So yeah, it was good. I thought it was super. And again, it was reaffirming, things that I already maybe had thought or believed, and so just hearing his story and how crazy his life was, and yeah, man, I like autobiographies just in general, but this one specifically, lots of life lessons. So yeah, but that's the overarching theme, and that's my book for this episode.
You
But
know who loves Burn the Boats?
John.
Yeah, your boy John.
John V, bro. Shout out to my
For
guy
sure.
John. John V is a burn boater, boat burner. It's fine. A burn boater, a boat burner. Yeah, man. He loves it. He shout out to John V. Actually, John V sent me Burn the Boats in audio format. Like, he fully bought it and sent it to me because he wanted me to read it. I read it physical, but I heard a little bit audio. And shouts to John V. I respect
Yeah,
that.
because he put you on, man.
He did.
He's like a real put on type of guy. That's how you're supposed to
He's a
do it.
legend. I think he listens to this, but yeah, he'll listen to this.
All right,
Should we
let's
move on?
go. Let's move on. What are we talking next?
Artists, albums, songs you've been listening to, or any musical thoughts. You want to go first? Or you want me?
Um, I'll go first.
Cool.
So the artist that I'm kind of like thinking about is somebody that we've talked about already
You're
on
the
the pod.
best. Yep.
He's Gunna, the rapper.
I would just like to say that I did listen to that full album on my way to my footy game last night. And so,
The
yeah,
full album. How far was your footy game?
bro, 45 minutes out. Like, I listened there and back.
Okay, what'd you think?
I thought there were I didn't like it as much as the last album that we talked about. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was amazing. There were maybe 4 or 5 songs that, like, I would add to a playlist. Everything else I would not.
Okay. Stop trying to like, steal my my put on here because I feel differently about it. And so let
Well,
me
good. Let's hear how you feel.
well here, this is what I would say. First off, the album's called A Gift and a Curse, right?
Thank you.
Um
Yep.
Obviously his last album is one that we both love, DS Forever. That's
Bangers.
yeah, that was an album though that was chock full of
Do,
like features, star
okay, but
studded.
is that one just before you get? Sorry, I keep interrupting you. But before you get into, do you like DS? Do you like that one more or this one?
I would say I like
Okay,
that one more, but
okay, okay. We're on
I
the
would
same page.
say that this one is more impressive to me, and I'll tell you why. Okay.
Sure.
So, like I mentioned, that one had an incredible like cast of features, right? It's Future, Young Thug, Drake, 21 Savage, Lil Baby, Kodak, right?
Yeah.
Etc. Um, this album has no features on it at all, right? And I think obviously the reason, like the elephant in the room, is that it's because it's his first album since he got out of jail, right?
Yeah.
He was brought up on RICO charges, and basically, so along with Young Thug, right? YSL is kind of like their crew, and basically he was in jail for a little while, and then he ended up reaching it's called an Alford plea agreement with the DA for a racketeering charge, and he
Yeah.
was released after a year of time served while Young Thug stayed in jail. Now I read up on this. Right, Gunna's plea by law means that it can't be used in the prosecution of anybody in YSL. And he's on the record as saying that he won't agree to testify or be a witness. But like it's this like nuance that like
Yeah.
it's it doesn't matter in the court of public opinion because the hip hop community has completely labeled him a snitch, a
Yeah.
rat. Like they've publicly distanced themselves from him. A lot of rappers have been outspoken, like Lil Durk, right, and like a couple others. He's basically a pariah, right?
Yeah.
So now he comes out with this album, right? He gets out of jail. He comes out with this album at a time when he's obviously an outcast, kind of like in the hip hop world,
Yep.
and he pretty much bears his entire soul and sheds light on how like the whole saga basically has affected his life personally and as an artist, right? So maybe I a big part of it was like I'm interested to hear this album from like a perspective of like, okay, he's just this is him by himself
Straight him.
alone,
Yeah.
right? It's bold, right? Like to me, like it's almost pretty daring that he put out any music at all, like coming out
Definitely.
of this thing. Even though, like, again, to be fair, it seems like he didn't snitch. Um, but then
Yeah.
again, like I don't want to get into any of that. Like
No, no,
there's
no.
a lot of stuff that I don't understand about it. And also like I know culturally, like there's a whole lot of, things that like whatever. I don't really care. But in terms of just the music itself, I happen to think that there are a lot of really good songs on this album. I would say my favorite tracks are there's a song called Cash Shit that I really
I
like.
like that one.
Back to the Moon, good
Yep.
little ditty. Rodeo Drive. I
You
like the
almost just
song
said
Go.
rodeo.
Yeah, I like the song Go Crazy. And then
Okay.
obviously, like the banger on the album is that song Fuck You Mean, which is blowing up on social and was
Yeah.
like the one where like everybody was making the memes of like he didn't snitch on me because like they
Yeah.
love the song, right?
Yeah.
Um, So, anyways, that's what I'm putting you onto, even though you've already listened to
Let's
it.
do it.
And I would
Yeah.
just,
To be fair, you told me about it yesterday, and I
yeah,
then so you did already put me onto it, but yeah, for the purpose of this,
you also were trying to like speed through it and like I don't know,
yeah, I'll
maybe
give it another listen. I'll give it another listen for sure after this.
I would just also say the whole thing is pretty fascinating. Like I'm sure
It
there's going to be
is.
a documentary
I
about it
honestly
one
didn't
day.
have that. I knew that he was just released, but I didn't have all that context. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay. What about you? What you got? Any music, artists,
yeah.
albums?
I got two candidates for song of the summer,
Okay.
and then I got an artist. But so my two candidates for song of the summer are "It Goes Like Na 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 Na" by Peggy Goo. It's kind of
Yeah.
like it's like house, little good summer vibe check, vibe check. No, it's road trip. You're in the car. You're about to head to the beach. Sun shining, sunny's on. If you're driving, obviously not a Corona in hand, but if you're on the beach, Corona in hand.
Can I tell you
Um,
something real quick?
sure.
I know that song and I don't think it's that good either.
Okay. Well, our music. How about
we're,
okay? So
we're not
so
on
that
the same page musically in this podcast.
that wouldn't be your song. Okay, but
Okay.
then other one, All My Life, Lil Durk,
Yeah.
banger.
Lil Durk and is Cole on that?
J. Cole, yes, he is.
Yeah, yeah.
All my, yeah, I could, yeah, trying to, yeah, it's a banger. So
That's a
those
good one.
two, and then just this is like some old shit, but I've been fucking with it a lot. The album, The Best of Sade, like Smooth Operator, it's like
So, what'd you call her?
Sadie. Sade? I don't fucking know, man. What's it?
Sade?
Sure. Yeah.
That's what her name is.
Okay. I've never had to pronounce
I'm
it
pretty
before.
sure. Let me look that up. It's not Sade. There's definitely no way. There's definitely no
Why
way.
can't it be Sade? It's spelled Sade.
I'm looking at how's it pronounced? Sade. Yeah, I was right.
Sade. Sure. The best of Sade.
Let's
Like,
clip that. I can't wait to clip that one.
fuck you. Uh, but no, man. Like again, late night, chilling, good vibes. Like very chill. A few like Smooth Operator obviously is kind of blowing up on TikTok,
Yeah.
but like my other two songs on that are "The Kiss of Life" and "Never as Good as the First." It's never as good. Yeah. So Sade.
Sade.
I
It's
would put Shilajit. It's like old. Like
it's funny how
that's
it's to
before I
me
was
what
born, man.
yeah, it's to me what's really interesting is how people like of your generation now discover
The
music from
older,
like
older.
yeah,
Yeah,
older music and like a lot of times it's and correct me if I'm wrong, like sometimes it's just a song on a clip that like starts to
for
go
sure,
viral and
for
that's
sure.
the thing that brings like an artist or a song back to relevancy.
That's what it was with Smooth Operator, I would say.
It's cool. Yeah,
Um,
she was a very mysterious artist. I kind of remember her from back in the day, but
okay.
she's got like a really cool look.
She does
And
have a cool look.
and you want to know something? I think she was very much a like a big musical influence, if I recall, on Kanye. Like Kanye always used
Oh,
to give her a shout out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Again, you learn you in music. You do say that you got a lot of music industry connections, so am not shocked that you know that. So,
Hmm.
but
Has nothing
yo,
to do with those connections.
I understand that. Um, let's jump to the next segment.
Yeah.
Yo, hit me with one, or in your case, probably seven pieces of social content, trends, or creators that are
All
on
right.
your mind.
All right. I got three creators and I got one trend. Okay. I'll just try and
Oh,
go
no,
by. I'll
so
go
not
through them
seven.
quick.
Okay. No. I want to hear them fully. No rush.
Okay. Have you ever heard of it's a handle, I think it's on Instagram and TikTok called pitch underscore addict.
Bitch.
Pitch, like
Oh,
on the pitch.
yeah. Pitch addict. Yes.
Okay. So pitch
No, I haven't heard of
addict,
it. No, I haven't heard of it.
maybe you've seen it. It's basically these French guys, footy players,
Okay.
and they just go shot for shot on goal in like a bunch of different ways. So
Okay.
like
Are they and they're
they're
good? I'm assuming they're very
awesome.
good.
There's
Okay.
two main guys, one named Vicos, like Vicos, Vicoss, and the other guy's name is Tibbs with a Z at
Okay.
the end.
Tips.
And basically like they'll go like a penalty shot and then like a free kick and then they'll go two touch, one touch, surprise, right? And like
There's a keeper
so
in the net for this.
there's a keeper in the net and I don't know why. It's just like mesmerizing to watch it. Like they're so good. They're talking in French. Um,
That's a factor for you.
I don't maybe not. I don't know, but like I just every single time it's on, I watch it and I don't know, maybe it just gets to like my sports like trick shot type of like it hits that kind of like spot for me. Um the guy, one of the guys, like his name, I guess his name is Vicos,
Yeah.
whatever. He's an amazing soccer player. Like
I have to
it's
check them out.
yeah. So check that out. It's a great little handle. That's one. Two. Um, it's a handle called Emily Morgan Creates.
Okay.
She is the one that takes professional sports logos and redesigns them. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Really cool. So she'll take a logo at the beginning. She'll basically like deconstruct the logo, put it on like its own type of like whatever, like kind of like separate all the different features. And
Sure.
then she'll like take an element of the city or a landmark or something that's already in the
Okay.
logo. And then
Okay.
she'll just make the logo better than the current version
Yeah.
is.
Then how? That's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah.
It's really creative and
What's this on? Is this on TikTok or
TikTok. I think she's also on Instagram. Emily
yeah? IG
Morgan
Reels.
Creates.
I
Yeah,
mean, more
yeah,
Grace.
check that
Okay.
out. Third creator is again, this is just very fucking random, but all of a sudden I started seeing these like videos of this guy who is um has a metal detector on the beach. His handle is Detector Mo. Okay. And basically it's like it's like a mix of like antique road show and just like the random dude that you see on the beach with the metal detector because it's like he's walking and each video it's like all of a sudden like the thing like picks up like the noise and it's like beep 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 beep
Yeah.
and then like he's got some contraption that like digs up sand that's attached
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
it and then it's just really cool to see like what he finds and it's always like jewelry or like old coins. One time he found like a cannonball, like a really old cannonball, like
Okay.
from like back in the day. Um, and then at the very end of like the clip, it like shows that whatever he found like cleaned up.
Okay. Okay. So he takes it all back and then okay.
Yeah, and then the
Does he sell them or does he
I don't know. I have no
or just
idea. I'm just
yeah,
like,
oh,
okay,
there's no
cool.
after the fact like there's no okay.
Maybe, probably sells them, but I think it's just interesting. Of like, think about how much shit gets probably lost
Lost at the
like at
beach.
the
Yeah.
beach, right?
No, that is interesting
Especially jewelry. Jewelry is a big one. I feel like.
for sure.
And then a trend that I've been seeing, like a weird trend that for
I
whatever
like this.
reason, yeah, is the trend of people taking different types of glasses and rolling them down steps and then them shattering in different ways.
It's so satisfying. Like you never know what step it's gonna shatter on. It rips down like seven and shatters on the eighth.
Yeah,
Like the ones with the colorful balls
the balls.
inside, and then
Yeah,
when it shatters, they it all goes flying. Yeah, that trend is on my feed as well. I like that trend.
got some real ASMR like
Vibes,
aspect to it. But you're right.
definitely.
Like sometimes you're like, oh, that's just gonna break first step, and it does. And then other times
Yeah,
you're like, oh, that's like a thick bottle. Like that could make it all the way down. And sometimes they don't break. And then um I don't know. I guess I would just say it's just another one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm why is this the thing that all of a sudden I'm like interested? I think there's something actually just inherently unique of watching something break, right? Like
for sure.
people do that like sometimes where they throw something off of like a really high like building, right? And you're like interested to see how it breaks or like
Yeah, there. What? Who are those guys who do that? Like they used to go up like they'd be on like cranes and they would drop um like bowling balls through trampolines from like so many stories up, just like stuff like that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that trend was a thing at one point. But yeah, it is interesting to see. Well, you're talking about seeing things break. I was in obviously Greece. I was dying to see someone throw a plate down and just fucking say Opa, but
They
uh,
didn't do that.
no, they didn't.
It's probably one of those things where they probably get mad at it at this point because like they're like it's like a tourist thing more than
It
it's like
for
an
sure.
actual.
Yeah.
What about you? Anything on social that's caught your eye?
Yeah, this one kid is blowing he keeps pulling up on my feed. Ollie Bowman. You heard of him? He's an Australian guy and he's just like a it's kind of like vlogs, but like he's been traveling this summer and he's known as like you must have seen this guy, but he's like the shoulder dancing guy. But so like he'll just be in like random spots like in a train, for example, and like I I'm holding my mic, but I want to do it. And if you're on audio, you gotta like picture this. But so like he'll like come like this, like with he'll like pretend his shoulder's hurting, like he'll be rubbing his shoulder, and then he'll fully like break into like this shoulder dance, and
You
just like
love this. You love doing those shoulder dances.
yeah, the shoulder dance. And bro, I mean, he's blowing up. He's like he just dances in random spots, like what flash mobs. Like he just like will like rip in the middle and just like do his thing. Like
Yeah.
guy just does some funny ass dances in like very public places and like right on people, and it's hilarious, man. But he's known as like the shoulder, like this. You're like, oh, my shoulder's hurting, and then you just start ripping the shoulder dance. And so that was my move in the clubs
Yeah.
in Europe, and bro, like everyone knew they're like, oh, you're doing the Aussie thing, like the Ollie Bowman thing, and so it was just funny. Like, yeah, he's in with the young people right now. So yeah, that guy Ollie Bowman on TikTok, and the only other one that like I'm constantly seeing and is a creator is this guy Chris Griffin, not from Family Guy, not that
Okay.
Chris Griffin.
Yeah.
Even though the Chris is fucking funny from Family Guy. And he just does like with the music that he puts on it, but he does like hard hitting quotes. And so I would say it like even a couple days ago, I'm like I'm like scrolling through TikTok because like we're always trying to find like the hottest creators to put all you fucks who listen to this onto. Um, but no, but so I'm like, a bunch of my stuff is just like funny content,
Yeah.
and then this guy pulls up, and it is with like it's hard hitting quotes, but the way he says it, it's kind of jokingly, but even though it's serious, and the one that I saw was like, uh, I was just again, it was a complete different vibe check because I was like, oh, like this is gonna be funny, and then he goes like, falling in love with someone is like handing them a loaded gun and hoping they don't shoot back or something. But like just all the fucking quotes, man. Like some of them hit. So that guy, Chris Griffin, those are my two content creators.
Got it.
Um, but I'm getting hungry, so I'm ready to move on to
Wait, real
the
quick before we get into that, can I just ask you just a one-off thing? Have you
sure.
heard about that creator Pinky Doll? Do you know
No,
about
I
who that
haven't. No,
is?
no. Pinky
She's the
doll.
one that's on the live stream right now that's like making so much money, and she's like basically people go on and she's like does this thing where it's almost like, how would I explain it? Like almost like it's almost like a video game character. So like she reacts to people like doing things on the live stream, and then she has like a curling iron or a hair iron that she's popping individual kernels, and she's going like gang 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 gang.
I've
You haven't
never.
heard about her?
No, never.
Okay, look into her. There is some
Okay.
weird like phenomenon going on with this girl Pinky Doll.
Okay.
I just wanted to see if maybe you knew who she was. All right. Anyways, let's move on.
Let's do food, snack, or drink. You want to put us on to?
Okay. Um, you want me to go first?
I can go.
All right, you go first.
Okay, so I could say hundreds of foods. I actually took a pasta making class with Jules.
Pasta.
Bro, Jules books the pasta making class. I'm fully waking up at like 10 a.m. to like head to this fucking making like spaghetti, friggin' ravioli, all these things. I'm not a good pasta maker. I know that, but where I'm going with that is a bunch of people that I was talking to was like, I think like Greek food is better than Italian food. Now, most people would say that's a crazy statement because you got pasta, pizza,
Wait, I gotta stop you real quick.
yeah.
Pasta. That's how you pronounce it. Pasta. That must be a Canadian thing because
Oh, that's why
yeah,
oh, that's
because
why
it's
you
like
said
pasta.
I thought you were
Pasta. It's not
enamored by the fact
pasta.
that I took a pasta making class.
Pasta.
It's not pasta. What
Pasta.
like spasta, like your boy? No,
Yeah,
it's
like
it's
yes. Yeah.
pasta.
No, it's not pasta.
Okay, this is ridiculous. Yo, we're clipping this. Is it pasta or
Pasta.
idiot? No, okay, whatever. But so after being in both spots, I honestly think that in terms of like cuisine,
Yeah.
Greek food is the most underrated cuisine out of anything. Like, bro, fresh vegetables, lots of meat. You got the potatoes, the starch, just like,
The
and the
fish.
sauce, like tzatziki, all the different sauces, the cheese, moussaka. Greek food is unreal. So yeah, my food is just, yo, if you're wherever you're living, seek out the best local Greek spot. Because again, normally people go, oh, let's go to like this Italian spot. Let's go for like Chinese. Let's go for
Yeah.
sushi. I don't think like on the daily everyone's oh yo let's go for Greek. So I fucking encourage you to go to the best Greek spot in your local area, have some Greek food, and tell me what the fuck you think. Because yeah, again, like between souvlaki, pork steaks, all the meats, the cheese, the Greek salad, like unreal. But and funnily enough, the best pasta I had, pasta
Yeah.
I had on the
Yeah.
whole trip wasn't in Italy. I had a shrimp orzo in Greece. Orzo's like the little rice kind of shaped pasta. Unreal. One of the best meals I've ever had in my life. So yeah, that's my food thing. What's
Got
yours?
it. Nice. So just for people that are paying attention, Cal's putting you onto Greek food. I'm
But
gonna put.
I feel like that's valid though, no?
I mean,
After
it's
after
delicious.
flying
Yeah.
back from Mykonos?
No, it's delicious. So I'm gonna put you onto Italian food.
That's funny, actually.
No, I'm not gonna put you on that. Okay, I have a couple of just very specific things. Okay.
But your thing
Um,
is Italian,
no,
no?
it's not. It's not. It's not.
Uh,
I was just making a joke. Bad joke.
no.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
okay. So number one, summertime. I'm a big ice pop, ice cream, frozen type of, food type of guy.
Yeah.
One thing that I love is Italian ices,
Oh,
and
Italian, man. That's what I'm
I
saying.
guess that is
That's
Italian.
why I was saying Italian.
I
Yeah.
was I You're right. I guess I didn't even realize it. But there's a brand called Lindy's. They make some really good Italian ices. There's a flavor. It's not even a flavor that I particularly like, but root beer, Lindy's homemade Italian ices,
Okay.
fire. So good.
I
Gotta
feel like I
check that
can't get
out.
them
You
where
get
I'm at,
Lindy's up?
but
Do you get Lindy's up north or no?
I don't think so. No. I'll
Okay.
have to have it when I'm in New
Yeah, when
York
you're in,
soon,
I'll
hopefully.
get you. That's number one. Number two, I love blueberries. Right?
I
I'm
like
like Gary
blueberries.
Vee in that way. I'm a big blueberry guy. Now, to me, the best blueberries are the ones like I pick out fruit. Like I'm very crazy with how I pick out fruit. I literally like will go through and like feel the fruit and like look in the
Yeah,
box and like
you talked about
inspect
that
it.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I might have even said this before, but Driscoll's makes a blueberry called Sweetest Batch blueberries. They are
Okay.
only really big, really firm, crunchy, super sweet
Sounds
blueberries.
amazing.
They're
What?
fucking incredible.
How much?
They're
How much more
they're
are they in terms of price point?
they're more expensive. They're like
But like,
like
how much? Like, are we talking like $10 more? Are we talking like a couple
so
dollars?
to get one of like these things, it's like I think it's $7.99, right? And so which is a
Eh,
lot for fucking blueberries.
it's a lot for blueberries, but I thought we were going to be higher price point. So
Well, if you want to treat yourself, Sweetest Batch, so good, delicious. I got to put you onto
that
those.
that must be just again that must be an American thing. I've never seen. I'm a big blueberry. Like I grocery shop now, obviously, because I
Yeah,
don't live at home, and I buy blueberries in every single like one of my trips, and I buy
yeah.
Driscoll's actually, and I've never ever like
You've never
seen
seen
anything
those?
that's not just like the normal Driscoll's blueberries.
Oh man,
So
look
now
it
I'll pay
up.
attention, but
Yeah, look it up. They're so good. And I'm one of those like creeps that actually like I'll get the blueberry thing and then I'll go and like go down another aisle and open it up and eat one just to make sure like it's a good batch because I'm not fucking like
that's so fucking
yeah.
weird.
I know it's
That's
violating,
insane.
but whatever. I do that.
That's insane.
Um,
You like creeping into an aisle, like
I
looking
just want
left
to make
and
sure I don't
right.
want to bring home a thing of fruit that like is going to be bad. I really like if I'm going to spend $8, that's a lot of money on just like produce. Like it better be fucking good. Those are always good. I'm talking about like when they don't have those.
Uh,
All right, two two last ones real quick. Arizona, like the iced tea,
yeah, I know
they
that.
make fruit snacks and they're actually pretty good. These guys,
Okay, like Welch's kind of.
yeah, they're kind of like Welch's, but they're better. They're better than Welch's fruit snacks.
Okay,
I used to be a huge fruit snack guy. And then they stopped making kind of like the generic ones that I really love, like the old school. This is before your time, but they used to have great, like the Sharks fruit snacks with like
sure.
the great whites. Um, Whenever they do like these like nostalgic posts, a lot of times they include those. Anyways, those fruit snacks, Arizona, very good. Last thing I was going to say drink. Summertime, it's hot. I'm a huge Arnold Palmer guy. Are you?
Yeah, I like Arnold Palmers, especially on the golf course. Yep.
You ever mess with John Daly's?
I do like John Day. I think John Day is a fucking legend, and I do like John Daly's. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it.
Okay.
Just a, just a
Those are
bunch of
good.
sweet things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's summer, so sweet like summer.
Right.
That's what it is. We're moving on to a segment that is actually new. Episode 9. We're calling it ChatGPT Quick Hitters. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, yeah.
Or just quick hitters though, just in general. I'm about to hit you with 5 quick hitter questions. Honest answer right away. You good? You
Yeah,
ready?
and I just want to just preface this with a buddy of mine did this to me the other day. My buddy Fish, shouts to Fish. Um, Thought it was a good idea, so we basically are
We're
just
trying it.
stealing it.
Yeah. Shows the fish. Okay, I got you. First question. Um, Obviously, aside from English, if you could be fluent in any language, what would it be?
Spanish.
Cool.
Can I give any reasoning, or are we just going
I
right
don't
through
know.
it?
I don't know. I guess we need to talk through that. Are we doing reasoning or no? You could give like yeah, give a very brief reasoning for these.
I just feel like there's a lot of places where that would be really useful. Like I don't need to
Yeah,
know
that's what
some
you
like
feel.
fancy language. Like I wouldn't mind being able to like, you know, talk to a Spanish girl in their native language.
Transparent. I think Spanish is one of the most beautiful languages in terms of like listening to it. I would probably pick Spanish as well. Not that
Uh-huh.
anyone just asked me, but that was a good answer. Okay, second question. If you could learn a new skill, what would it be?
Good question. Cooking, like beyond what I know how to cook now. Like I'm very very
It's a new
limited in my
skill.
cooking. What?
You're saying your new skill would be learning to cook
Like
better.
really to really know how to cook, you know?
Okay, so cooking.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could be any character from like a TV show or a movie, who would it be?
Any character from a TV show or a movie. I think I would be Riggins from Friday Night Lights. That guy was just the fucking man.
What? Just because he was the man? Any
Yeah, he
other
was like a football
reason?
player. All the girls
Yeah.
wanted him. Like
Okay.
I had kind of like a crush on him, and I
Okay.
don't even like I don't get down like that. But that's how I just feel like he was the man. So Riggins,
Okay. If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, who would it be and where are you eating?
my wife, and where would besides my wife,
Yeah, yeah.
like a
Someone you
celebrity?
don't know. Yeah. That's a good answer though. The great PR from Derek right there. Great PR.
That's on the spot. It's like I think the first person that comes to mind, and I don't even think that this would necessarily be the answer. Oh man, this is a fucking tough question because there's a lot of people that I would love to have dinner with. So many. I think Snoop would be a good one though, because like
Nope.
kind of like Burn One, and he's just like I love Doggy Style is like one of my favorite albums of all time, and he just seems like the fucking man.
Where are you eating?
Um, maybe like somewhere. It doesn't have to be like a fancy spot. Maybe like a low key spot, like Waffle House.
That's an interesting answer. Okay.
Think about it, because we would get high, we'd have the munchies, and then like my favorite type of food, like when I'm high, like that is to like breakfast style, or like I could just see that being fun.
Okay. And last question uh, on the food note again. If you could only eat one dish for a month straight, what would it be?
One dish. Um, Probably. It's a good question. Probably like eggs. Again, I'm a breakfast guy, and like
Sure. Eggs is a very good answer, I would say, because it can do a lot of different things.
right, and you can kind of like do different styles of eggs,
Breakfast,
and
lunch, dinner. Yeah.
yeah,
That's a
I
good
eat.
stuff.
I love like a good scrambled egg, good fried egg, good like over easy egg, omelet. Did
Okay.
I just crush that GPT section?
Yeah, you were good. Yeah,
You ready for yours?
I am.
All right, I'm just pulling it up. Let's see. Um, one of them is the exact same
My
question.
all the skill one. I just because I want to answer it. I would I would learn how to play the guitar or drums. Like I want a musician.
Got it. Okay. Um, what's one personal habit or routine that you've adopted over the years that has significantly improved your life?
One personal habit that I've adopted over the years that has significantly improved my life. Honestly, waking up and one of the first. Again, I'm not super consistent with it, but when I am like waking up and just going outside, getting fresh air for the first like 15, 20 minutes of the day and like walking.
I like that. Okay, good. Um, this is a literature question. Is there a book that has significantly influenced your life or changed your perspective on things? What was it?
I would say the book that has had the most impact on me in terms of if you ask me what book and it was at the time that I read it, but Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill.
Same. Love that book. Amazing. What's the most memorable sporting event you've ever attended?
The most memorable sporting event I have ever attended. That's interesting. I, you know, yeah, the most memorable. So London Olympics,
Mm-hmm.
2012, the women's final of the soccer at Wembley Stadium, and it was U.S. against Japan, and the U.S. had. I'm not like crazy into women's soccer, but again, it's 2012. I'm 11 years old. My family's at the Olympics, and the U.S. had beaten Canada in a heartbreaker in the semis to get to the final. I want to see Canada win the gold, obviously, and so I fully bought a Japanese flag and wore the Japanese flag to the U.S. versus Japan final. And I'm a blonde kid, and so we got a bunch of U.S. fans by us, fully like, "Are you not American? Like, what's wrong
Like
with you? Like,
harassing you?
yeah, what the fuck is this kid? Like, he's wearing a Japanese flag." And so, yeah, I still remember some of those conversations and how lippy I was at 11 years old. So that I've been to like more better sporting events in my opinion in terms of like that I've personally enjoyed, but that's the most memorable.
Okay, that was a really long answer.
I'm sorry.
And
I needed to back it up with the story.
aside from your primary interest, what's a lesser known hobby or passion of yours?
A lesser known hobby or passion of
Yeah.
mine.
What's one of the ones that you haven't told our audience about?
I like shoes, man. I'm a shoe collector. I like shoes. Yeah.
Okay. One last one. Okay. What's one pop culture phenomenon or trend that you just can't seem to understand? And why does it puzzle you?
That's a that's a fucking good question. One pop culture phenomenon that I don't understand.
Yeah, that like just is like you don't understand what all the hoopla is about it.
Do you have one?
No, not off the top of my head.
This is that's um a pop culture phenomenon that I don't understand. Um maybe this. All just in terms of like the actual like quality of music. I don't know why this fucking came to my mind, but
Okay.
I don't understand in terms of quality of music Justin Bieber's Rise to Fame, Early Days, like Baby, all those songs. I don't uh, yeah.
Oh my god, but that's so obvious. I mean, like he's like a good-looking kid. He's got a great voice. Like
But did he though?
he's like a heart. He's like a little teen heartthrob. Did he? Yeah.
I don't know why that came to that's such a random question. It's a tough one. If you don't have one?
It made me think of what was I was just thinking of somebody too that like I don't see all the hype about him. Oh, yeah. You know who I was thinking is Lil Uzi. Like to me it's not like yeah, to me like I don't get the whole
Lil
hype
Uzi
around
hype?
Lil Uzi. Like I
He
think
just kind of
I
yeah.
think he's out there and I think like he's really different and unique, but like that whole dance and that whole song like it bothers me and I just like I don't know. It's just I'm never going to be down with that whole I'm just not down with Uzi. Like I
That's fair. I don't.
personally I think he ruined Bad and Bougie, you know, and that was the first time I got like kind of exposed to him like and I've just never been really into him. He's not my cup of tea.
That's fair. There's definitely 8 songs that I'm like bangers by Uzi, but yeah, I don't like his vibe either.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I like that segment. We should definitely keep it.
Yeah, or at least kind of change up the questions, and that was fun.
Yeah. Round us off. Final segment. Life takeaways.
Okay. I'll start. So here's a question for you first off. Are you familiar at all with sleepaway camp?
Of course.
You are.
I did them. Yeah. A
You
few.
did? So like in
Few.
Canada, when
Yeah.
you went to
So
sleepaway camp, tell me what that was. Like give me a high level of what that experience was like.
I
How
would
long were you away for?
I would travel back to Canada from Dubai for a month. 2 weeks I would do sleepaway camp. 2 weeks I would stay with my mom and grandparents, whatever. But they sent me to sleepaway camp somewhere outside of Toronto. And yeah, it was 2 weeks, and it was normally like 1 week was like, you're doing camp stuff, like you're swimming, you're doing all these things, and the other, it was always around sports. So like I do a hockey. It was like I'm staying in the woods, like I'm out in the woods, but there's a hockey rink there, and we're playing hockey 2 times every day, or soccer or whatever. So those were like the sleepaway camps that I would do.
Got it. So there's this thing in the Northeast, like especially among like Jewish people in the Northeast, which
Yeah,
I'm Jewish, right?
yeah,
Um, where we go to sleepaway camp, and it's like there's like it's like 7 week sleepaway camp. You go for
yeah,
a long time, right?
yeah.
I think the origins of it all started kind of like in the Catskills back in the day.
Okay.
But whatever the case may be, I went to sleepaway camp, and now my oldest kid, is doing his first summer at sleepaway camp, right?
Yeah,
So basically, like, I grew up going to this camp in the Berkshires in Massachusetts, and like I have so many fond memories of that experience. And I think it was like really great for my social development to have
sure,
that type of freedom. My brother was there, my older brother was there. So like I had like this like comfort factor, but I also made so many like friends there that I wouldn't have had otherwise, and built a really valuable network of like relationships that I still have to this day. That's what I think is almost like the biggest
sure,
benefit of doing it, right?
sure.
All of that being said, like it's actually kind of foreign to a lot of people um, in America that like are outside of my bubble, and I mentioned it to some friends at work, and they couldn't even believe that I was sending my kid away, like my 8 year old kid, for
That
seven
is
weeks, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
it's a little
7
strange.
weeks. 7 weeks.
7 weeks. That's those. Yeah, that's what I said before. Is that crazy?
Sorry, I totally missed
You
the
weren't
7
paying
weeks.
attention.
No, yeah, that's crazy. 7 weeks consecutive.
7 weeks consecutive, but in between, like at the 3 or 4 week mark, parents come up. It's visiting day, right?
Just one day.
One day. So last week I went up for one day for visiting day, right?
Yeah,
By the way, let me just say also, like, it's funny because now the way with technology and social media, like, we get pictures of my kid, and my wife is kind of like, you know, CSI style. Like, is he smiling? Like, like, does he look
is he
happy?
giving
Like,
us any hints that he needs to come back? Like, yeah.
exactly. Like, why is he been wearing the same shorts for the last like 4 days? Like, whose hat is that? Like, that's not his hat, like all this shit. Um, and we were all kind of nervous, but like my kid, he like wakes up and he's like shot out of a cannon, and all he wants to do is play sports and have sleepovers and all these things. So we were like, he's gonna love this, right?
Yeah,
And for all like by all appearances, he does. He loves it. He's really happy. Um, Anyways, last week was visiting day, which is a really weird thing. Everybody goes up, all these parents, and they bring all this food and these snacks, and like they kind of like all like go towards their kids, and the kids run, and it's overwhelming for kids, and it's this whole weird experience. But like my whole takeaway on it was, it reminded me very much of like when my parents came up to visiting Dave, to see me at camp. And it kind of threw me for a loop, because I'm like, damn, like I'm already at this point in my life where my kid is old enough to be going to camp, and
yeah.
I'm like going to visit him. And then like my youngest kid is like starting kindergarten in the fall, and like just passed his deep water test, so he's learned how to swim. And so my big takeaway this this week, this podcast, is just like when you get older, it feels like time speeds up, and like you
Preach.
always feel like you can't keep up with how fast time is moving. It feels like yesterday my kids were babies and now
Yep.
they're not babies anymore, they're kids, and I feel like I'm going to blink and they're going to be teenagers, and then like next thing I know they're going to be going to college and I'm going to be like, in my 50s and my 60s. It just goes so fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, I've been processing like that experience for the last week, and it's really kind of thrown me for a fucking loop, man. Like time, I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, like going to work and like the day or going to school, and I would count the seconds, and it felt like time moved like so slow. It crawled, and now every one of my days, I look up and it's 7 o'clock at night, and I'm like at my desk, and I'm like, what am I like? I need to
I
go
feel you.
home.
No, I feel
So
you on that.
it's
Again,
scary, man. It's scary how time flies.
I like not that I have the same experience as you specific and don't obviously have kids, but like even with my sisters, man, like my they're I have two younger sisters, and yeah, man, I like Ava's like 15 now, going to grade 11. Deegan's what could have been like took a gap year, but going to college next year, and just I still like they're still they'll always be like 7 and 10 to me. Like it just like I've seen Tegan at the bar before a few times. That's like I'm like I want to leave. This is throwing me for a complete loop. I don't like it's like she shouldn't be, and it's just like again time is a weird thing, and to your point again, like if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, like this time's going slow. This is still in whatever year, but I think it also has like as more things are going on in your life too, time just goes faster, right? Like you got full-time job, you got kids, you got family, you got so many things. It's just like there's no time to sit and think. Like
I know.
time's just moving quick.
It's hard to
Um,
keep up, man. It's hard to keep up with all the things. It's hard to keep up with friends. And that's a really other like sad
yeah,
thing, is that I have some really close friends, and it's like I haven't spoken to some of them in months, and
crazy.
it's
Adult
hard.
friendships are tough, man.
It's hard. It's hard to maintain. What
When you
about
have
you?
kids. Yeah, me, a couple things. The first I would say is I want to reference it was one of the first podcasts we ever did, and I said that my key word for 2023 was balance. And I actually, for once in my fucking life, I actually like listened to that and myself, and I just coming back from the trip and just like being back home for a couple days, um, and just reflecting on the last, we're almost halfway through the year. I would say that I'm just super grateful that I think that I finally found like a good balance of work life and friends and health and just everything, man. Just like really just being in tune with myself when in the past I wasn't. So yeah, just like the keyword balance thing, and then the other personal takeaway is like how much of an impact positive energy and supportive people can have in your life. Like and I'm sure everyone experiences different things, but like if your immediate network and friends are negative in whatever way or like not supportive, that's tough on you as an individual, and it doesn't motivate you, that drive's not there. Again, like this is just very generalization, but like when you do have a squad around you, people around you that support you fully and are just positive and assuring, I think that like for me at least it takes you to the next level. Like you feel like you're working for other people, and I'm sure you feel that way like for your kids, like you're putting in shit for you. And so yeah, man, just like the impact that positive energy and individuals have on your life. That's my takeaway. And yeah, I feel like it's a fucking good episode.
Yeah, man. By the way, that's a good. It's like anytime somebody enters your life that has that positive energy, like you feel that like
You
right
do.
away. Like you know the people that make you feel good, and you know the people that kind of like have that. It's like an energy, right? Like it's just like you're. It's a
Oh,
feeling that is so undeniable. I have like I in my life, I know who those people are I
Yeah,
know who add and I know who kind of subtract. As you get older, like you're really just like you have no time for fucking the bullshit and
bullshit.
people that just like are negative, have that negative energy.
100%. And yo, just before we wrap, I want to say that to the start. I totally wanted to have this in the intro. This is like what I would put you on to. Like if I could put you on anything right now,
Yeah.
we just went through all the segments. I could put
Yeah.
you on anything right now.
Yeah.
It would be this supplement called Shilajit. Shilajit.
Okay.
I might have spelled there's an A in there maybe, but Shilajit. It's I take it in capsule forms, but it's like this um it's from the Himalayas, straight from the Himalayas. It's kind of like it's not a shroom, but it's like this mushroom from the Himalayas. And bro, look, like I could go through all the positive benefits, but essentially like what it's done for me in terms of energy. Like I take it every morning before I do anything else, and you're not supposed to. I take it like an hour or two before I eat, and yo, like I don't like sometimes I don't sleep a lot, whatever. I am so juiced, like every bro. I just like even right now, I'm like vibrating and just like the energy it gives me, like it's supposed to increase productivity, testosterone. But what it's actually doing is so your pineal gland is in. Have you heard of the pineal gland?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your third eye.
Yeah.
So in society, we only tap into like, what, 20-25% of our brain power.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is your pineal gland gets calcified. So like when you're fluoride is what calcifies your pineal gland. So most of the water we drink, the water in the taps, most water has fluoride in it. Toothpaste, obviously we use that every day, has fluoride in it. Now, again, I'm not going to get into any conspiracies or anything, but the fluoride, as much as people say fluoride's good for you, it's not. It's calcifying your pineal gland. And so what Shilajit does is it helps decalcify that pineal gland. And so essentially what it's trying to do is help you tap into that third eye. So like in ancient Egypt, in the pyramids, that third eye. And so you're able to tap into more of your brain power and get past that 20-25%. And bro, like honestly, man, in terms of like just intuition and how like intuitive I feel after taking this and
Yeah.
after having taken it for a month or two, it's insane. Like I'm not like super mumbo jumbo, like into all that like energy, all that
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
but like the intuition is crazy. Like I can if you yeah, take it.
How much are they paying you for that plug?
Nothing.
Bro, wait. Can I put you onto something real quick? Last thing.
It won't be as good as Shilajit, but that's fine.
Lululemon. Okay. They're called Lululemon Rest Feel Slides.
Lululemon's Canadian, yeah.
Feels like you're walking on a cloud. I'm not
Okay.
gonna give. I don't even need to like give the whole like thing that you just the whole diatribe. Just $60.
Okay.
One of the best things I've bought in the last like 5 years. So comfortable. Lululemon slides. I think that's a good place to end. And I'll just finish off by saying it's pasta, not pasta, pasta.
I'm done. We're done. We're ending this. All right. Thank you, everyone. Episode 9. We out. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning into the Put On Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to follow us on social @the Put On.